We live. Welcome back to another edition of Gen Sports Corner. Back at you.
Yo,
3/27/2021. I am your host, Jen. This is, would you introduce yourself, sir?
what's good? It's Tune Philizar of those beautiful black children, UT and radio, many other things, Philadelphia. But yeah, there's been a lot going on in the sports world. Philadelphia has a little bit to celebrate, I guess. Um, what do you think? What
Yeah,
What was your think about the deadline moves that Philadelphia made?
that's a great question. So let's start with you know what? Let's start off with the Sixers. And I want to preface basketball by talking about Elgin Baylor a little bit.
Salute to Elgin Baylor,
Salute to him,
the
a legend.
great man passed recently.
And you would know a little bit more about him than me. So tell the folks about what he brought to the sport, what impact he had.
Well, basically, Elgin Baylor was a legend. Not just in the sense of scoring. He was a person that innovated the game. He was your Michael Jordan before Michael Jordan. He was your Dr. J before Dr. J. He was a very creative a creative person at a time when it just was a jump shooting game. So salute to him for innovating the game. To bringing a lot of creativity for a lot of young people. So Elgin Baylor, a legend. Check him out. Check him out. He's a legend. LA, salute.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Let's have a 10-second moment of silence for the legend real quick. Appreciate it, sir.
Indeed, indeed.
Yeah, he was one of
So
those. He's one of those guys. I don't mean to cut you off. He's one of those
no,
guys
go ahead,
that
brother.
I didn't get a chance to look into. Like I've looked into the Oscar Robinsons and the Pete
Right,
Maraviches and the Jerry
right,
West
right.
and Hakeem and a lot of those guys, but I never got a chance to look at Elgin Baylor.
I
Probably because I'm
think
a
that
Sixers fan, so I didn't really.
I think right now,
Bro.
we, the good thing about the digital world is that we get a chance to go back and see some of the footage from a lot of these legendary, not just boxers, but um, legendary football people from our era that may have been legendary, but just didn't get the press because of the bias back then. As far as like there was a major city bias. If you were in a small market, you didn't get the views. Fortunately for him, he was in LA, so we did get a chance to see him and whatnot a little bit more. But again, that it was television. So back in the day, if you didn't weren't on a national broadcast stage, then the rest of the world didn't see you. So we
Right.
have a chance to go back now, check out some video footage, check out some of the techniques, and I would really say to these young basketball people to take a page out of that whole era's the way that they practice, the way that they focused on the game. Don't get so distracted with the social media and stuff. When you're playing basketball and you really want to make this your way of living, focus on it. Do the practice, isolate yourself off, do the self discipline, do the free throws, the jump shots, the sitting there and to your arms sore. It has to be done. It has to be done.
Absolutely.
Right about now, we want the quick, your man pull out a cell phone and catch a quick dunk or something trick, or we want to posterize somebody. But shout out to Kobe, 2 points is 2 points. No matter
Absolutely.
how you put it in the basket, 2 points is 2 points. So put
Facts.
it in the basket as efficiently as possible, and maybe you can actually be a legacy and be able to talk to people not just about how you put the basketball in the hoop, but how you fed your family and how you disciplined yourself, how you got your body tight. Because shout out to Vince Carter. Look at how these basketball players'
Woo.
bodies are tight
Yep.
after all these
Vince
years.
Carter going to be playing until he's 63.
Carmelo Anthony, like a lot of these players, basketball done one thing financially for them, but look at their health.
Yep.
Shout out to the the women's WNBA. Look at overall health in general. I realize baseball and football and all that are America's pastimes, whatever they say, but basketball keeps you fit. Running up and down that court keeps you fit,
It
and it's
do.
one thing that only requires a ball and a few of your friends.
True.
you know. So big up to that. Don't want to do on that too long. Much love for everyone that loves this sport. Go ahead, brother.
You mentioned something very interesting. 2 points is 2 points, and
2 points is 2 points.
that's going to transition nicely into the trade that the Sixers made and the way that they play basketball. But they made a trade for
Right.
one Mr. George Hill at the trade deadline.
Yours.
I like the pickup. I thought it was a solid move. You got a point guard, not just for now, but for the future if he plays well. He's on. He has 1 more year on his deal. I believe only 1.75 guaranteed out of the 10.2 he's
Mm-hmm.
million he's going to be making. So he's easy to move on from if he doesn't perform beyond
That's what I was
expectations.
going to ask you.
Yeah,
What's your expectations for his performance
I think
after his after his injury?
he's going to give you that solid point guard play that you don't have outside of Ben Simmons right now. So that's what
Okay.
they really needed. So you missed that with Jimmy Butler, and that's what you could have gotten with Kyle Lowry, but I wasn't for what the Raptors were asking for. So they wanted Tyrese Maxey, and then they wanted Matisse Thybulle, and then they wanted 2 first-round draft picks. It's like no, 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 no. Good.
Not at his age right now,
No.
and not considering that. And this is no disrespect to him, but I really think that he will come home eventually. Philadelphia, if y'all haven't noticed, is probably going after a championship this year specifically
Exactly. And then they will
because
also
there
have
really
to
is no obstacle.
and they would also have to give up Danny Green just to make sure that the books balance out. So you losing all of your bench, you losing all that shooting and defense
Right.
to get back Kyle
Right.
Lowry, who brings you defense and shooting, but you're losing too much on the back end. Like you're losing too much defense from the wing. So
He brings you defense and he brings you offense, but you give up two things. You give
yeah.
up size,
Mm-hmm.
number one. He is an offensive guard, but when you couple his age
Right.
with his size. See, it's one thing when you're talking about an older seasoned veteran and you talk about a power forward or center, because you're talking about someone whose primary
Right.
job
Like you
is
mentioned
really
with
just to
Melo.
clog up, probably get you 10, 15.
Yeah, like you
When you're
mentioned with
talking about
Melo
a
or
guard,
Howard. Yeah.
right? When you're talking about a guard, you're talking about someone you want to run,
Mm-hmm.
even when they don't got the ball. The guards are the runners. The guards are the ones that run up and down primarily. You're talking about running and you're talking about banging. At his age, I don't know how many, especially in this era now where people trying to save energy and whatnot. You get him, you give up so much, and then injury or father time because don't make it. A lot of these people are not far from retiring. You know, um, I think you will see a lot of people retiring in their prime because right now, especially with this COVID situation, people want to enjoy their life, a la Jim Jones.
Yeah.
So so I think you're gonna see a lot of people, especially right now with the fact that you could be a media sensation outside of sports so quickly. You're gonna see a lot of people. Um, if they don't go into broadcasting, they're gonna start podcasting things like that, and you can kind of make the kind of money without having to sit on someone's bench and listen to a coach holler at you. So with Lowry, I think that he probably only has 3 years left, if that.
I would
I don't
agree.
think it would have been worth it. I don't
Yeah.
think it would have been worth it for the future. Um, George, I don't think we had to give up so much. I like him. I like what he brings. I like his offense. Maybe he can get the cobwebs out of Ben as far as the being gun shy. Because I don't think that Ben can't shoot. I think he gun shy.
Thank you. Thank you. We're gonna have this conversation over and over again. Is one thing I reiterate a lot.
What do you think about the? Go ahead.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask you, what do you think that Ben is going to bring? I mean, George Hill is going to bring off the bench with that second unit.
I'm hoping stability. I'm hoping stability. Whereas when he comes off the bench, you have someone who still knows who to pass the ball to. Because ultimately, like we go out there and we complain about people not being able to make shots. You have to put people in a proper position for them to be successful. If you know
Right.
someone is good on a certain side, your point guard needs to know that. George Hill needs to become really connected with that second bench because let's get it straight. There's a reason why there's more than five. There's five people in the court, but there's a reason why there's more than five people on the team.
Yeah.
People need to start respecting the necessity for a strong bench going into the playoffs.
Which is
You can't
why I
go
believe the Sixers, like you said, are championship contenders, and they've shown that. Even with
right.
Joel Embiid out injured, even with Seth Curry with the ankle injuries, they are so deep as a team you have Harris leading that first unit. You know, Tobias putting up like 26 to 28 points any given night, and then Ben Simmons running the point. And now you have another point guard coming off the bench, along with, thank goodness they signed Dwight Howard. Dwight Howard, in spot duty, looks
Can we have
fantastic.
a Dwight talk? Can we talk about Dwight?
We can talk about Dwight. We can talk about
Can
him.
we talk about Mr. Howard?
Yeah, let's talk about him.
Mr. Howard, right now, you are needed. There has not been a lot of times in the past couple of years where you were needed. You weren't needed in LA. You weren't needed in Houston. You're needed right now, and you're not needed to score. You're needed for exactly what you are built for. You are a big, huge, strong, powerful man. Do that and get 10 boards and 10 points and shut the fuck up and don't be getting texts unnecessarily.
Hey,
that's not wise.
Hey, that tech that he got was bullshit. First off, I don't even want to get into the whole thing of how the NBA is getting soft, because this is not just with Dwight Howard. It happened to who did it happen to? Not Draymond Green. It happened to we played somebody about 10 games ago who got teed up against the Sixers. And I was just looking at the game like, for who, for what? What did he do? It's just like you can't even fart wrong without.
Here's the thing. They are professionals, okay? You can't, unless you are involved in actual planning, you give a hoot about it, the rules you don't create. So bend and work within the rules, okay? When you get a veteran, what's the one thing you expect a veteran to do? You expect them to know the rules and show the other people in which way, even if they don't score. You expect a veteran to behave like a veteran.
I get it.
With Dwight Howard, my problem with what happened to Dwight is not so much the fact that the tech was ticky-tacky or petty. The fact that you're a veteran. You're there right now on multiple levels. You're there as a center that's actually needed. You're not just a hollow backup trying to teach Embiid. You're actually going to get some quality minutes. Okay, so respect that. Right now, Embiid is out. Respect that. And then number 3, and most importantly, you were just honored that night. So show some respect. First of all, respect to Philadelphia, respect to the Sixers, but I just want to talk about professionalism for just a split second.
Go ahead.
When you are someone that young people look up to, of any hue, no matter what their skin color is, no matter where they come from, no matter what country, you act in a certain way. You just got honored by LA that night. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it was probably some bullshit, even if it was, you go out there and you whoop they behind on points. Embiid is out. We already a paper tiger for a minute. Go out there, show them your strength, remind them what it was. Be a veteran. Don't be Dwight Howard looking for his prime again. Don't be someone trying to show their old team. Be a veteran basketball player and show people, because understand something. There are basketball journeymen who do not have the privilege of being honored by any particular team because they went to so many teams that no one team really ever gives a hoot about them. But notice how some of these gentlemen always win the sportsmanship award. These gentlemen are always active in the communities because they know, boom, when I come to a new place, how do I get allocated? Get to know these people. Dwight, Philadelphia is a blue-collar town. We don't play that stupid nonsense. We love hard-nosed players. And that move, there's certain people that's going to miss the game. All they're going to hear is that he caught a tech and he got thrown out. They're not going to see that it was pity patty. They're not going to understand that all they're going to know is that our veteran didn't do what veterans supposed to do. You bite your tongue. You throw some slurs at them in the joint after the game, but you stay out there so your team can win you. And that's all I'm gonna give them on. Dwight, get the hell in line.
I have to push back with you on that one, because
okay,
I think
go ahead, brother.
I will argue that is him being a veteran, because I look at the different sports. I look at hockey, baseball, football. They say some of the most egregious things in between plays,
right.
because as a competitor, you're competing. Like, I'm not going to let another grown man tell me that I'm trash. I'm going to come out there. I'm going to whoop your butt on the next play. And then I'm going to say, yo, You see what just happened? Your man's a fucking liability out here. Give him the fuck off the field, right?
Right.
And I can say that in football, and that's just normal behavior. But if I even fart wrong in basketball, they're ready to tee me up. First off, I understand that you have to have accountability, and biting your tongue might be the best move in terms of staying on the court.
NBA soft.
But sometimes you need to get teed up. You need to show that aggression. You need to show that you're the alpha dog on the court. Because if they knock your dick in the dirt and you don't say nothing, you're worse off not getting teed up and tucking your tail between your legs. Because with Dwight Howard, one, those are ticky-tack calls, and not just with Dwight. I just can't remember the name of the team we played where Donovan Mitchell got teed up. Like 2 weeks ago when the Jazz played us and they were winning the game and we came back, took the game from them, and Embiid hit the game time shot and Donovan Mitchell wasn't getting a couple calls.
Right.
And was he whining? Yes. But like, first off, the referees, we're not here to fucking see you. Like, you're a grown man, you're a grown woman, regardless of gender, put your big boy drawers on, your big girl panties on, and get out there and just call the game. Stop taking everything personal. Yeah, they're going to jab and jaw at you if they don't think they're getting the right calls right. But you don't see referees in the NHL or the NFL when they're mic'd up, the shit they be saying to them, they don't be getting all butt hurt. They might not give you the call you want next time, but they're not going to throw you out the game. And you need to have that vocal leadership on the court. I forgot what it was, but Ben got teed up on a play when he yammed on somebody hard as hell and just like gave him the stare down and got teed up for it. And it's like, okay, cool. Like, we're not worried about the tee.
These refs are getting too emotional.
I know. I need that out of my point. Yeah, I need that out of my leader. Like, get loud. Right. I mean, be in that man's face. You want to see me up? Whatever. That man knows his place. Like, he don't need to be on this court with me right now. Same thing with Dwight Howard. He didn't get teed up for the block on Julius Randle, but if he did, so be it, nigga. Like, he needs to know you don't deserve to be on the court right now. This is our game. You're playing under our rules at our pace. You get that tee. It's almost like when you get into a fight in hockey, right? They know to go into the penalty box. Does that make Closer any less of a leader? No, because he's letting his team know if somebody gets hit blindsided, I'm knocking their helmet sideways. Like, I'll go to the penalty box, but they need to know this is the tone we set.
As an urban Philadelphian, I agree with you 1,000%. As a perceiver, an analyst, I have to show the fullness of that. Again, what we need from him at that moment is the longevity of the team. We need that win. And yeah, we do need that psychological ability. Don't get it twisted. What he did served the purpose, because we need to let LA know that, if we see y'all, we will be smashing y'all in the mouth if y'all think y'all gonna pull LeBron up off the bench later.
Question.
And all that.
Question for you.
Yeah, go ahead, brother.
They got their rings, the Warriors.
Right.
Do you think that it's better to let Draymond be Draymond and get the 3 rings and lose one of them because he got, ejected in game 6, suspended for game 6 or whatever?
Right.
But do you think the other 3 rings were worth losing that one ring? Like, if you take that away, that part of his personality away, do you think they even get the other 3 rings?
You know what's funny? I would like to respectfully sit back with you and probably have an entire episode on just the rules and how that affects the outcome of certain games, because I think that did affect. That's an interesting thing. You can't take Draymond's energy away and then not suffer the championship attitude. That's absolutely. So in that situation, I think you do have to keep Draymond's attitude and champion that. But I think it definitely did cost them an additional ring, and it cost them. Let's not be twisted. It cost them Kevin Durant, because although people who say Kevin Durant is soft and all that, let's be reasonable about something. If I put up my 25 and 10 and 25 and 12, I don't give a F how you feel about me. I don't need to hear a whole bunch of how y'all don't need me and whatnot, because no, y'all don't need me, but you're better with me than without me. So I think Draymond's attitude cost them on the court and off the court. So again, if you don't have that, you have no emotional leader.
Yeah,
So that's a real interesting way to look at. But
yeah, we're getting
let
too
me ask
far.
you.
We're
Yeah,
getting too
I
far
was
off
just going to
topic,
say I
but
don't want to go too left. I
yeah,
want to ask you one more thing
yeah, go
referring
ahead.
to basketball, but it's slightly on a different level. With this, well, no, let's keep on NBA for a minute. The new playoff setup, how you like that? Did you notice that the playoff setup is different now?
I didn't.
Okay, what they're proposing now is that it's not just an open field of 8-8. What they're doing now is doing a field of I think 10-10 or 12-12, and then the last two or three two slots have to play in for position. So now what you're eliminating is when you have someone who's a conference leader, so they slide them to the top four. But if you went by their games, they probably wouldn't have even made it into the playoffs, which was a big problem with the East being weak in recent, years and whatnot. I think it's weird as ever. I don't know what they was thinking about, but
Yeah,
let's see.
we could talk about that for a separate time. I had to think on that because I had the same feelings about the NHL when they opened up the playoff bracket. It took me a little while. I don't know. They're two different sports. I have to think about that one. Um,
Right, right,
but that's an
right.
interesting
But
one.
the
Because
reason I ask is because with right now they're proposing that that's the reason why a lot of people didn't trade off their stars during the deadline
that
because they had the
oh
opportunity to fight for the ninth and tenth
oh
spot. That's
oh
why I asked you.
that's a very good point. I didn't even think about that. And I think that's a really good segue into college basketball because the same way as college football added a
And
playoff
that's why I
system,
held out on that because that college basketball is interesting too.
the
But
same way that college football upgraded their playoff system to have a 14 playoff because they were very outdated, right? I think
right,
the NBA they may be upgrading their playoff system to try to expand it in the same way as what we're seeing with because look at all
right.
the upsets we got in the first round of the tournament. And I'm looking
Woo!
at them.
I was gonna ask you
Oh,
about that. Woo!
listen, man. Ohio, University of Miami in Ohio, the upset University of Virginia, fourth seed. They're 13th seed and upset the fourth seed. And then you had ACU upset Texas. That was crazy, 63-62. Abilene Christian. It's like every year Abilene Christian and Loyola, something about them. They like screwing stuff up. That was a crazy one. UNT 13th rank beat Purdue, fourth rank. OSU, uh, fourth rank, they lost to the 15th ranked team in their bracket. And then Tennessee, fifth rank, lost to the 12th ranked team in their bracket. It was just crazy for like my whole
Would it be
bracket got
fair to
blown up.
say
Got blown up.
would it be fair to say that this is probably one of the most historical March, playoff seasons ever as far as college? Because
Look, and I don't want to,
um,
and this is going to
go
be
ahead.
YouTube sensitive, but the vid done turned everything topsy turvy, man. Like all,
Yeah,
all these
yeah,
teams
I
had
love
like
it though.
all these
I
teams
love
had
it.
like
You know why I love
yeah
it? Because it's going to switch up the positions for the NBA draft, and what you're going to get is a bunch of
yeah
gems going late because they're going to be seen as not having how they performed in college. There has to be um first of all, I love the upsets.
yeah
I love the upsets because what you begin to understand and what these players begin to understand is it truly is the fight in the person. If you can will yourself to a win. You can
you
will
really
yourself to a
can
win.
yeah
You literally can intimidate the other team into dropping the ball. You can. You go out there and you look at them like because what you have not only is upsets, but what you have is some people that have never went this far ever in their school's history
nope
ever. So we're not talking about an old school like Georgetown or somebody that ain't been in years, and then they coming back with the old fighting spirit of the old. No, we talk about someone that come and clear out the blue. You
and
know,
we saw it in the second round as well. So we saw Syracuse 11th rank beat West Virginia, who was the third ranked team.
right?
That was crazy. Like it's the amount
It
of
brought
parity.
excitement. It brought
Exactly.
excitement back to the college game, and it lit a fire under the people that's still in there to let them know, listen, y'all not protected just because y'all ranked high.
Nope. Nope. And Illinois, #1 ranked team in their part of the bracket, lost to the 8th ranked team by 13. By 13. That's a fair margin too. So crazy pills.
And can I share with you how I think this is going to translate over into the NBA?
Yeah, yeah, go ahead.
What you're going to get is one or two generations of players with the heart of lions, no matter what their skill set is. It's going to bring back the scrappy player into the NBA. Because like you said, the NBA didn't got soft.
Yeah.
By what's happening with all of these Cinderella upsets and all of these underdog wins in college, they're going to bring that championship spirit into the NBA so that when they're in a losing streak, they don't care. Because guess what? They've been part of a college that ain't never ever was supposed to do nothing. We're gonna win. I
And you
think it's
need
going to
that.
bring.
You
I
need
think
that.
it's going to bring a new type of spirit back into the NBA because right now the NBA is really on some glamours and glit, and you you have a you have a league that's supposed to be based on shooting, and the vast majority of your stars have no jump shot and no free throw. That's the problem. Okay, what won in these college teams? Free throws. Free throws kept a lot of them close. Not the big three, not the super dunk, not the highlight film. You know what kept a lot of these? If you go back, and you know what we made after
We can go back. You know what? And I'm glad you mentioned that because we don't even have to go back that far because
what? Yeah, I was about to say what's the free throw stats on that, and we gonna get it tight to where we get the ball on the side. Like get us the stats on that. Um, the free throws that I saw were the difference.
no,
And
the
I'm not talking about free throws at the last minute.
the
I'm talking about free throws the whole game.
I know. And Villanova, they have a chance to be a 3-time winner in the past 5 years. And a big reason for that is because they are excellent at free throws, among other things. Like throughout the game, they always hit their free throws and it separates you, man. Like you don't have to, in those critical moments of the game, you're leading because you hit the free throws. Or if you're tied, you're going to hit yours and the other team is not going to keep pace. So,
I'm about to throw a curveball. Hold on, you with me?
yeah, go ahead.
Think about for a moment, because Kobe called out Shaq about his fitness
Hmm.
and about how many rings they could have if he was in good shape.
Yeah. How
Let
about
me
that?
let me just twist your mind into something real crazy. You with me?
Oh, yeah.
How many rings would they have won in Orlando and or anywhere he went if he
Come,
was at least a 75 to 80% free throw shooter?
come on, man. Come on. You can say the
If
same
it,
thing
if
about
it, if there was
you
no
can say the
such
same
thing
thing
in a
about
hack and
Dwight
sack,
Howard too,
if
right?
if hack and sack, right?
Yeah. Yeah. How many rings?
If
Yeah.
hack and Shaq, if hack and Shaq was not with no such a thing, because all through college, all through his professional career, he was told that listen, big fella, even though you going jam down there, we need you to make free throws. We need you to get your jump shot together. We need to bring back fundamentals. There was no reason for people to act like Tim Duncan was the exception.
Which
Tim
is
Duncan was
why
what a basketball player was
which
supposed to
is
be.
why Joel Embiid is so exceptional. He does everything. He's hitting what? 85% from the free throw line, 40% from three. He does it all. There is no getting around
I
him.
will hurt Embiid's feelings if I get Embiid along in a private room and tell him what his problem is. Embiid's problem is not his game.
Uh-huh.
Embiid's problem, in my opinion, and we're gonna keep this YouTube friendly and whatnot. Embiid's problem to me is the fact that he's too talented. He's so talented that this brother is not doing, and this is my problem with the him and Howard combination. You still need someone. I don't care if it's a center, a big guy's mentality that's in the front office or something. Somebody has to let them know how to play smart. Emotional playing is great, but I need you to play smart, my brother. And B, I need you to strengthen your body up and find out outside the court what can you do to keep your body healthy. We can't keep having you go out. That's a problem. Embiid, my problem with Embiid is not Embiid's gameplay. My problem with Embiid is that he has not put his mindset to how a champion must go about getting a ring. Right now, Embiid is playing like he's padding his stats, and I don't like it.
You
And
think
Ben
so?
is too young. Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah. He
disagree.
played.
I completely disagree.
When I say padding his stats, I don't mean he's padding his stats selfishly. I don't think Embiid is selfish. I think Embiid does not know how to protect his body. Okay, boom, twisting the mind again.
Mm-hmm.
If O'Neal would have had the forethought to get his body in shape first or sooner, like Kobe did. Because let's remember, Kobe was on the bench behind Van Exel and Eddie Jones and somebody else when he first came. He had the same skills, but his body wasn't right. He put his mindset on, okay, how do I prepare for the long haul? And B has to decide how he's going to help the Sixers in the long run.
And I would
Even
agree
being
with
on
you
this, go
last
ahead.
year. If you had said that last year, I would have agreed with you. And that was the big criticism that I and you and many other people had, is that
Right.
yes, you're extremely talented, supremely talented, even, right? But you don't know the pain of loss and having that drive to want to be the best, which was why it was, in my opinion, great that he got his heart broken with the loss to Kawhi Leonard
Right.
the year before last,
And
because
I think he has
and
gotten over that.
you see the fire on his ass this year. He got
Right.
himself. He
Right.
came into this
Right.
year in shape after they
Right.
got swept last year. He
Right.
came in shape to
Right.
this year, like, no
Enough
fat.
respect. And let
And
me
and this
clarify that.
year he this year he goes into the paint, like when the in the critical moments when we need points, he's like, all right, this is not a time to be cute. I'm gonna get in the paint and I'm gonna yam on people. A la Rudy Gobert, made him look like a child. Like, there's no more being about finesse and not wanting to get dirty. He goes in there and gets it done. And he knows, look, in the
And
critical
I
moments of the
may be
game,
asking, and
in
I
the
may
critical,
be asking for the impossible. And
yeah,
I agree with you again.
I
I may
think that
be asking
he's
for the
he's changed
impossible.
his attitude coming into this year. Last year I would agree with you, but coming into this year, not only does he have Dwight Howard and Danny Green, but Dwight Howard is a big man, just won a ring. But even if Dwight didn't come here, I don't think it's a cherry on top, but he didn't need it because he had the pain of getting
Right.
swept and then losing
Right.
that the way they did
Right.
to Kawhi, that you can
Right.
just see the way
Right. Right.
him getting injured this year was unfortunate compared to him getting injured in previous years, was because he was out of shape. Where this
Right.
year is unfortunate, and we're fortunate it's not a serious injury and he'll be back, but he is in
Right.
shape and in the critical moments of the game. Hell, the step back 3-pointer he hit against
I
whoever it
believe he
was.
will see a ring.
That's what I'm saying. And you
I
have
believe he will see a ring.
the cast of bandits around him now, the 3-point shooters, Seth Curry, Danny Green, around Ben Simmons and Embiid, where you cannot double
George.
these guys. They don't get
George
flustered.
Hill.
George Hill now, they cut down on the turnovers. They're not where they need to be, but they're a hell of a lot better. You cannot depend on them getting flustered and turning the ball over when you double Embiid or Ben. The ball is getting kicked out, and you're going to pay the price. You want to cross that bridge, you're going to have to pay the toll. And that's what separates this team, even with when both of them went out for a week's time. Tobias Harris is taking it over. I am an all-star. I am a fucking all-star. That's what he said, and he's playing like it. So they're in a good spot. I don't want to spend too much time on that, but I do want to, stay on the topic of playing a team.
Because I was going to ask you one short thing about the Sixers.
Yeah.
What would you say if you had to say just one or two lines that would be necessary to bring it all together for them? What would you say the Sixers need just to bring it all together tight?
Time and time, because and I reiterate that because they're getting done in the season. Everybody knows that the Sixers are going to be the top 1 or 2 seed. But when those playoffs come, will they be gelled by that point? And I think they will. They're already showing it right now. You have championship caliber players, not necessarily all-star caliber players, but championship caliber players in Dwight Howard and Danny Green. And then you have players who have experienced that excruciating pain of loss on top of it, that have been almost to the with the Eastern Conference Finals, right? And Embiid and Simmons. So you have a mixture of guys that are on the precipice, in addition to guys that have just come off winning a ring. So I think, and they're playing right now even without their full complement of players, they just still look like a juggernaut. So when everybody's healthy, they've had those 50 games played together time and time. They might
Mm-hmm.
not go full like Moses Malone said, but they're going to do some damage in those playoffs, and I think they will get a ring this year.
One other real quick thing. Do you think that the recent flood of all-star talent from the West to the East is going to make any difference? Because Harding is in Jersey now,
I
and
was just about to
the
say
move
that.
they just made down Miami.
Yeah, it's in my opinion, it's between the Nets and the Sixers. I just think I'm picking the Sixers just because Blake Griffin makes them overpowered, but he's not Embiid. Like when those guys go up against Embiid, him and DeAndre Jordan, it's not gonna work. It's not gonna work.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Embiid and Howard. If Embiid
And
and Howard
Howard.
can never
And
learn to
Howard.
play on the floor together, they got a problem. Because Embiid, technically, if he gets in shape, he can swing to the four and let Howard play the down low
Yeah,
because he has the range to back up. Now,
they
what
got so
happens
many
when you get in the pick and
options.
roll with him and Danny Green and Seth? Like
Boom. They got
you
so
got a
many
problem because
options.
down low,
Like you're
yeah,
saying, they got so many
you
options,
almost
man.
have a kind of you almost have a kind of multi-headed dragon down there because you it's almost cheating because what you have with Ben and Howard is you have two people that really if they learn to play down there together, you'll be looking around worried about Howard and before you know it, Ben just slammed something in there. And then you
Yep.
worried about Ben and Howard down low and Embiid and all the 3-point shooters is killing you from the outside. Like they really have the ability to do something nice there if they would get their mind straight. Like many other things before, it's a matter of mindset because the talent is there, the ability is there. And the reason I asked you about the flux of talent coming from the West to the East is I wonder if, like Kawhi Leonard, if we run into a Kawhi Leonard situation where it comes out to the last play, woo, because we got a whole lot of clutch players. Well, not a lot of, yeah, we got a lot of clutch players that
We do. We do.
slid over to the East.
We do, man. Um,
Harding came. Um, Westbrook came because don't forget Westbrook is because see people like that, even if they do not, they're not a threat to be to be the representative from the East. There's someone that can weigh you down. There's someone that can stretch out a game from stretch out a series that should have been a 4-4-4 out to a 7. Now by the time you get to the West, you smacked around.
yeah.
So we gonna keep our eye on the talent that came over here, and I really see the Sixers as running through everybody at some point. To be quite honest with you, and I'm not just saying that because I'm from North Philly, but it might be.
We're going to talk about it more. But let's quickly,
Next topic, brother. I'm with you.
yeah, let's quickly go over to the men's tournament and go through these games. Let's do a quick prediction rundown.
Okay.
Loyola Chicago is already playing against Oregon State. They're down 24-16. We'll see how that goes. It's at halftime. What do you think is going to end up with that game? Quick prediction.
I am totally mind screwed by all of these games, and that's because um with covert scares and things like that, every quarter seems to be a different game. We're not just talking about from game to game. We're talking about literally the first half of a game could be totally different than the second. So even with that, right now, it appears as if one side is down, but you just don't know. So what I really think is Louis gonna try. They're gonna try and come back, try and do something with him.
So you picking them?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Because like
Um,
I said, right now you can have someone down 20 points in the first half and come totally back. That has happened this year. Any other year, you'd be sick. You'd be crazy to say it. But this year, you've seen teams come back from 15 points behind. College games, 15 points behind. Unheard of.
yeah.
I think they're gonna
I'm
do it.
gonna agree with you on that one. Next game. Let's see. Next game today on the bracket. Let's go with Arkansas versus ORU. I'm bad with these college teams. I don't know who they are, but um,
Um, I watched
Arkansas is
Arkansas
3
play.
seed and ORU is 15 seed.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I watched Arkansas play. I don't really see them making any mistakes. It's their game to lose. It's
I agree.
Arkansas's game to lose.
I agree.
I
I
don't
agree.
think that the other team has a chance of beating them.
Yeah, I think the Razorbacks got a scare um, early on, but I don't think it's going to happen again.
Yeah.
Next game, Syracuse. Hey, surprisingly they're here against number 2 Houston. Who you got?
I don't see no upsets there. I think that the upsets are over with. I think the upsets are over with. I think Houston's going to do that.
I agree. Houston's strong this year. I don't really follow college basketball that closely, but Houston, they're pretty strong. I don't
I've
see it.
had
Yeah.
I've had the benefit recently of being in a lot of multimedia complexes where there are multiple games on. So I've had a chance to catch more than one college game. Under normal circumstances, you'd have to watch just one game. I've been
Yeah.
in places where I've had 6 or 7 TVs at one time, so I've seen some of them play. Like I said, I've seen Arkansas do their thing. I've seen Houston do their
Right.
thing, and yeah.
Okay.
So I don't see any upsets. I see the higher ranked team winning and most of these brackets. I don't see any strong Cinderella teams that are going to be able to go much further.
All right. So what do you think? Last game today, and I kept this off on purpose. Villanova against Baylor.
My pride want me to say Villanova. It's probably going to be the game of the day.
Yeah. Oh, I'm
Um,
getting ready to go out to watch the game. Like, have no mistakes
yeah,
about it.
Baylor thinks it's their game. I really think it's again, it's one of those games where it really comes out to who's better prepared. When you look at the stat sheets, you're going to try and pick Baylor, but you got to remember that Villanova can snatch a win right out to jaws real easy. You know, um, I'm going to go with Villanova because that's in my heart. Um, if they don't win, I won't be surprised, but I will not say that other team is going to win.
I'm gonna have to
Philly,
go.
baby, Villanova. Go ahead and talk your job, Jen.
Hey,
Go ahead.
look,
Listen,
I
somebody
gotta keep it a
gotta
buck.
be the bad guy.
I gotta
Somebody
keep it a
gotta be the
buck.
bad guy.
I'll be the bad guy. I'll be the bad cop. I'm going with Baylor in
Somebody gotta
this
be the bad
one.
guy. Go ahead.
I want Nova to win in my heart of hearts, but I'm gonna go with Baylor. I hope you're right. I hope I'm wrong. That is my prediction. They're tough. They're rough. They are rough.
I'm gonna share with you what the keys would be for Villanova.
Yeah.
And we just said it before. I'm into what's called unified theory. Think about from that little kid that's been bouncing the basketball all the way from he's a little kid, your Seth Curry sitting on his dad's knee, all the way up to the highest pinnacle, which is winning the championship. The college game right now, you have one of the greatest tools in between there. Up until this point, you haven't had college ball the way you have it. Right now, you have the greatest tool with you're playing the highest level of competition because of the way in which the college bracket game is. Yeah, they've screwed it up a little bit with not paying the players, but it's a great, great thing. I think that Villanova, just in them doing their free throws, playing basketball right, playing as a team, it's difficult to fight against. It's like fighting. It's like fighting a whole army of very synchronized little ants. You look at them like they only ants, but don't let them. Don't listen. Don't let them hit no threes. Don't let Villanova hit them threes on you.
I
Don't let
know.
Villanova hit them free throws on you. And don't let Villanova beat you to the second chance points. If you don't put that ball in the hoop the first time, you're going to have a hard night against Villanova Baylor. Understand that. If you don't get the second, if you don't get the rebounds, if you don't get the free throws, if you don't sink your free throws, get your second chance points, meaning when they put the ball up first, Baylor's probably going to sink it first the first time more often. Villanova's going to beat them to them rebounds because they already know they're going to be outmatched. They outsize them, right? Almost at every position, right?
I would assume so.
Bella's larger than Villanova is yeah, they're
I
historically
don't
been
know.
really
I
small.
haven't.
No, but I'm
Yeah.
saying to you,
Okay.
Villanova historically has usually been a little bit smaller. It's an academic school. You know,
Hmm.
they're very cerebral. So a lot of our players, we tend not to have the large basketball body people. What you have is a bunch of really, really smart, really, really good players that they plug into positions. If Villanova can hit their free throws, get to the rebounds, and play smart, then yeah, Baylor, you got to play perfect to beat them.
Yeah, yeah, and that has always been the strength of Villanova under Jay Wright, and I would say that the best comparison I can make is probably to the Spurs. Like they
Right,
play fundamentally sound. Even when you beat them, you can't make a lot of mistakes. Um,
right.
so
Even
Baylor,
when you beat them, you don't have a lot of negative criticism. If you beat them, then
no,
you simply beat them.
yeah, I just think Baylor has the firepower and the consistency to do it. An important word being consistency. Like you can have
Right.
the firepower to do so, but if you're going hot and cold, you're going to be in a tough spot against Villanova, even in their off years. So, but I think that Baylor's probably going
Yeah.
to win, but we'll see. Then the next last four games, UCLA at Alabama. I'm going Alabama. UCLA, they had a big
Alabama.
win. Yeah, I'm going Alabama.
Alabama.
Then we
I
have
think that's also going. I think that's also going to be a good game. But Alabama, I got a sweet spot for them. Plus, they've been playing good. They've been
yep,
playing the right way, as they say the right way. Alabama
the
been
right
doing
way.
good the right
Then,
way. We're
then
gonna
we
have a
have
discussion about the right way one day. But go ahead.
we got FSU. We got the Seminoles versus Michigan. Number one ranked versus Michigan. What you got?
Again, I really don't see any upsets. I think that's going to be a good game. I take Michigan.
I think Michigan as well. They're strong this year. And then we have Oregon
And
versus
again,
you.
you have parts out. And again, with Michigan, you have another school of teaching that just teaches a very stable way of playing the game. Like Michigan, like they play. Listen, do what you can, how you're supposed to, and they have a culture where they expect to win when they play right.
Exactly. Exactly. Then we have an interesting one here. Oregon versus USC. And they are ranked seventh and sixth respectively, but they are
I was about to say Oregon. Yeah,
much better
that's
than their
going to be the
records
coin
indicate.
toss.
Yeah, like because you had they missed some games due to COVID, but before they missed those games, they were on fire. So like these are not your typical 6 and 7 seed, in my opinion. So who do you have, Oregon or USC?
Right. Um, I have Oregon for that one. For no particular reason. I think that they're both evenly matched, just
Yeah,
like the rankings say. But again, it's about how they prepared. It's about how they feel about the tournament up to this point. Because, like I say, it's been a phenomenal. Because be aware of this. We're discussing the Cinderella teams, but all those men are aware. Men, all of the players in the tournament, people, men are aware that anyone can lose because how many upsets we had early? Like six,
ooh, yeah,
five?
like 6, 7, yeah,
Yeah. Like so at this level again, I don't expect any upsets, but be aware that the people on the court, who's to say what they expect. I take Oregon for this one.
yeah. I'm gonna go with USC again for no particular reason. I think it's a coin flip.
Again, that's
I think
what's
it's a
up.
coin flip game. They're both
Yeah.
they are not they're not Cinderella teams. They could easily be ranked 2 or 3 had they
Yeah. 2 or 3.
not had that setback with the vid. I'm gonna go with USC. They're pretty strong, but that's going to be a really good game. And then the last game for the Sweet 16, Creighton versus the big bullies on the block, Gonzaga.
I got a soft spot for Gonzaga, man. I got a soft. I do, man. I
Oh,
like
say it ain't
Gonzaga,
so,
man. I
man.
always like
You going
Gonzaga,
with the
man.
favorites too? Oh man,
No, actually, it's not that I'm going with the favorites because you know what's interesting.
I'm messing
I
with
can
you.
remember when these teams were not the favorites.
Yeah.
Um, Gonzaga was a big monster many decades ago, and then they went dormant, and everyone is surprised they back. I'm not surprised they back.
Every year with Gonzaga, it's always like, oh, they're gonna win it this year, and they always get bounced out in the first round, even though like they have like the top ranked record. They ain't. It
But
ain't this year though. It ain't gonna be
yeah,
this year.
yeah. This year is one of the years they go. Now I'm gonna tell you this. I don't think they're gonna win it all, but they got this one. They
Mm,
always make it past a certain. Put it like this: if they get past the first field at all, either they get knocked out in the first field or they run deep. This is
yeah.
not a year they're going to run deep. They
Ooh.
going to beat this one, But yeah, they next game, whoever they play next is gonna be interesting. I'm really interested to see the Elite Eight. So these
Yeah,
games today, I'm interested. Here's the interesting thing. I'm more interested to see what the games are going to be for the Elite Eight than I am to see the outcome of the games today. How messed up is that?
I agree. And two of the ones that stand out to me are if Houston wins, will there be an upset by Loyola or Oregon State over Houston in a sweet in the
Right.
in the Elite Eight, and
Right,
then the
because
winner of
whoever faces that Oregon or what you call them, remember they're facing a team that appears to be lower, but in actuality they're where that they should be higher. Oregon and the other team. So don't nobody want to. Though everyone is looking at that games like, uh,
yeah,
yeah,
exactly. And people were just like, we don't want to see bad teams play, but I don't think they're bad teams. So, and then the other one that intrigues me is if Arkansas, the Razorbacks win, which we both think they will.
yeah.
How's that matchup going to play up against either Villanova or Baylor? Because that's going to be a slug fest. It's going to be a slug fest, man. That's a really
Um,
intriguing one.
the Razorbacks, the thing with them is going to be, and that's why I say I think I'm a little bit more interested in what the matchups will be for the Elite Eight, meaning who's going to come out of these games more than actually seeing the games.
Yeah,
Because how you come out of these games, meaning is there going to be a lot of overtime? Are there going to be a lot of fouls? Are there going to be, I ain't going to discuss injuries because they're all young people. How your mindset comes out depends on where you go to the next one. Because if Arkansas comes out and they dominate, they may think they somebody. They come up against Baylor, Baylor may have some smoke. They may come out with their head down and come up against Villanova, who they're expecting to beat, and Villanova snatch one from them. So everyone better keep their heads up as far as anyone can lose. Anyone can lose. I wish all these young people the best, both on the next level and the years after this. Right now, play hard. The Sweet 16 is gonna be crazy. I look forward to seeing what the matchups are for the Elite Eight and the Final Four, and then we're gonna talk some smack on the next one. Real quick, we're gonna talk about this
absolutely.
black eye. Go ahead.
Talk about yeah, no. I about to talk about the same thing. So go ahead.
Yeah, we're about to talk about this black eye right here. Yo, let's get something straight. We got enough issues going on in this world that we ain't gotta have no smoke about the sisters in their weight room. Get their weight room straight. It's not for somebody else to say what's an adequate weight room for them. If they're in a tournament and they're supposed to have a weight room, put a real weight room in there. Don't make some makeshift room and put some little dumbbells in there and tell the ladies they support. Come on, man. You see some of these sisters, man, they gotta get their jump shot up too, man. Y'all better put some weights in there. Man,
Look,
disrespectful.
it's
They dropped the
disres
ball on this.
it's completely disrespectful, and
They
it's
dropped the
like
ball.
yeah, we'll make our money off you and not pay you, and then we're going to give different facilities to the men. If you weren't making any money off of the women, okay, you can give them dumbbells, but you're making money off their name and their likeness and their skill and talent. You should be giving them the facilities they need to be great athletes. That was bad,
I'll
man.
say it to you like this: the Arena League in football and the sub professionals, they get a full weight
They get
room.
better
They don't get some
facilities.
old
Yeah,
rinky dink weight room just because they're not making the big money as the NFL. Yes, I understand the WNBA is not bringing the revenue that the NBA. That's not the issue. You're talking about on a collegiate level. You're talking about making sure. We just had a whole conversation about having the body straight with Shaq and with Embiid and everybody. These players, these professionals, because let's get it straight, male and female, these are professionals. When
mm-hmm.
you're a professional, you got to keep your machine tight. How you gonna give me subpar materials to tighten up my vessel? That don't even make
It's not going to
sense.
work. It's not going to work.
That don't make sense.
And you going no, no. That's
And it's embarrassing considering this. And people need to have the foresight of this.
yeah. Go ahead.
Look to the future. Look to the future, and people gonna frown on this when you're going to have female, not only coaches, but a unisex league of some type in some era. Okay, with that understood, you don't want the black eye looking back and say, "Oh yeah, we used to treat the female athletes like this." Because I'm gonna tell you something. If you have a 3-point shooting female or a female that got finesse and she can do that 2-point, I'll take her on my team. The first female that you're going to see play in the NBA is probably going to be a point guard or a small forward, but it
Yeah,
will happen.
I was just
It
I
will
was just
happen.
thinking about this.
It will happen.
You
It will happen.
you were echoing the things I was thinking about a couple days ago
Yeah,
because
it will happen.
between basketball and baseball, I think are two sports where it's an inevitability. Because you
Yeah,
have spots on the court and on the baseball field. Like you might
the
not
game.
have a woman
Right,
playing the outfield that is going to
right,
have a rocket arm like
right,
Giancarlo
right,
Stanton
right,
able to hit
right,
50 home runs a
right,
year. But you can have a, a woman who's a second baseman, good arm, able to
right,
crank over,
right.
maybe 10 home runs over the fence and give you great defense. That's everything you can get out of that position. So, and the same thing with point guard and shooting guard in this day and age, and not just with the women.
Especially consider that you can't touch them no how. You can't give them. You can't give
Exactly.
them the arm bar none.
You can't put hands on anybody. So like you
So
said, I think it's an
it's
inevitability.
leaning towards it. It's
Yeah,
leaning towards it.
yeah.
So with that understood, can you imagine if when me and you are older and we're looking back at our phenomenal career and we sit back laughing like y'all idiots, y'all didn't allow for the equality to be evident because we're not talking about something that needs to be practiced. We're talking about something that just needs to be shown and accepted. We listen, we don't give a damn how you feel about female basketball
I want
one way
the
or the other.
best point
What we
guard.
care
I want the best
about is
player at that spot. I don't care if
right.
they male or female.
What
Like,
we
give me
care
the best
about is
person.
they're professionals. Give them what professionals get.
Yeah.
Give them a weight room. If they're in college and they're supposed to have a weight room, give them a weight room.
Mm-hmm.
And don't say something strange when they say something about it. Because think about this. Think about the difference between large market stadiums and the adequate weight rooms and the big market stadiums. There was a time when only big market stadiums had the big weight room, and then the small market was like, "Hey, I know we out in Indiana, but we want a good one too." So look at it that same way. Don't be cutting no corners on things where you're talking about people's safety because you didn't want to get a proper weight room. So they ain't get they leg working right, they back working right, whatnot. Keeping your body tight prolongs your career. Period. You
Correct.
know,
I mean, am I correct when I say that they're giving these Division I women basketball players scholarships, full rides to go to the university?
yeah.
So if you're taking money out of my pocket, if I'm not a student athlete and money is coming out of my tuition, you better damn sure make sure that all that money is being put into
Being
making sure
spent
they're
properly.
the best player that they can be and building the facilities up. What the hell are you using the money for then, right?
Yeah. So enough to that. Black out for them. Boo.
Yeah,
We listen. We support adequate facilities for whatever you need it for. Make it right.
completely agree.
Don't do it again. Make it
You're
right.
right. Um,
Um.
let's move on to the Eagles briefly before we get into boxing.
The bull.
Let's
The
talk
bull.
about Mr. Audubon, New Jersey himself, right around the corner from me, by the way, Mr. Joe Flacco, back
Do
around
you
the way.
think that? Do you think that played a part of him coming home, or do you think he riding the bandwagon of the Philadelphia Green Machine right now? I'll
Mm,
wait.
we in a green machine right now, but that's funny you say that because Audubon they're known as the Green Wave. That's the name.
Are they?
Yeah, they are. Ironic. But no, we're in a spot where we're rebuilding, in my opinion. We're taking a year off because we made the trade, which I'm going to talk about as well. But he's getting paid more than he was going to get going anywhere else. And a lot of
Okay.
people are looking at this trade wondering about the logic behind it because he's getting $3.5 million guaranteed and can make up to $4 million more in incentives when he only made $1.5 million last year with the Jets, who stunk. Like, and he was on 4 in the starts, but that team was a train wreck. We knew that. And he was coming off a neck surgery. So that's why they got him for a discounted price. But I still don't know if I would have paid him $3.5 million guaranteed, but that's neither here nor there. Um, I think it's a solid move. I think they overpaid for him, but I think it's a solid move to have a backup for Jalen Hurts at this point. But he
How do you
said,
feel about the Eagles overall?
um, I I feel as though this team, they're at a point where they're going to need to stop kicking the can down the road. And I'm specifically talking about Howie Roseman with these contracts. Um, they're in this spot because they don't draft well.
Right.
And that brings me to the next point I was going to get to. The Eagles traded back out of the number 6 spot to the 12th spot. Um, so word was they tried to
Right.
trade up to number 3 to try to get the quarterback, I believe, out of BYU. Zach something, I can't remember his name.
I
Um,
don't think we need a quarterback.
they might tend to differ. I think that I personally don't think so either, but I think they were
I don't
trying
think
to
they need
go
one.
they were trying to go after one of the top guys on the board, and they couldn't move up to that spot. I think with the Dolphins, so they decided to trade back and push all the chips in with Jalen Hurts. Um, do they now? Now, interesting scenario. Let me know what you think about this. They traded back for the number 12th pick, and they got another first rounder next year. Do you think the Eagles still try to trade for a quarterback? Do you think that they use that draft capital to go after Deshaun Watson or Russell Wilson?
That's what I was going to say to you. I don't think that the Eagles necessarily are concerned about the quarterback position right now, which is why they signed Joe Flacco, which is why they signed Flacco, because in the future, I think that there will be quarterbacks, veteran quarterbacks available. I think what the Eagles are thinking about right now is shoring up the O line and the D line and making sure that they have a quarterback in a position that can win. A lot of people had their criticisms about the ball. Uh,
Hurts,
I can't even say his name no more
Jalen
because it
Hurts.
hurts.
Yeah,
Yeah, Prince Harry, um,
Prince Harry.
hurts. Yeah,
Oh, Wentz.
Wentz. Yeah. Um.
Okay.
Uh.
First off, no. I gotta cut
Here's
you off.
what. Here's the
I
thing
gotta
with him.
cut you off, Tune.
Go ahead.
That first off, you cannot mispronounce Ginger Jesus' name like that. You cannot. That's blasphemy.
Let's say something positive on his behalf though.
Yeah.
The real issue with him, and everyone can say what they want, they drafted a quarterback without the proper structure to protect him. They've done it similarly in the past. There are situations where a quarterback is drafted and he comes into a vehicle, a team that is developing, but they have enough protection to allow the quarterback to develop as the team is progressing. Here in Philadelphia, we have an expectation to win really quick. We hire all these offensive weapons. We go for a quarterback, and then we don't have none of our mammoths up front
Did,
to
but they
defend them, to protect them,
but they,
to
but they
keep
did.
it all short. Go ahead.
They did though. They did.
They
I
pieced it together. They pieced it together after a
no
while, and
no.
he dropped the ball.
Well, I would say this: they didn't have the weapons on the outside, but when they drafted him, they had the line. You had a Jason Peters who was still playing at
Dude,
a
there
very
was
high. They had Jason Peters at left tackle who was playing at a very high All Pro level at that time. You had Jason Kelsey at center. You had Lane Johnson at right tackle. So they were fine on the O line. They just did not have any weapons. So they had to go out and get an Alshon Jeffrey that second year that Carson Wentz had, right?
dude. There was a time here in Philly where we had what I call the kamikaze squad. We had all these offensive weapons, but it's like from the second that the ball is hiked, they got to get out there and you got to shoot before somebody get to the quarterback.
Yeah, I
Like
mean,
we had,
but that those are the
there was a
days of like
brief
Randall
window. There was a
Cunningham.
brief window. There was a brief window
Mhm.
when we had many offensive weapons, and the quarterback simply had no time to
What year are
gather
you talk?
himself.
What years are you talking about? Are you talking about the Randall Cunningham years, or what years are you talking about?
No, I'm talking about all down through time when they're drafting good quarterbacks, and the quarterback is the only good piece ready.
No, I'm
Okay,
saying
that
what year range are you talking about? Are you talking about the McNabb years, the Cunningham years, the Vic years? Like what time period are you referring to?
um, I'm talking about just recently when we had the at the end of the McNabb era, when we had all those offensive weapons, and for some reason we couldn't get no defense together. Then we got the defense straight, and then we were letting go all of our offensive, like most of our offensive weapons were dinosaurs for a minute. Then recently, when we had the Chip Kelly era come in, with the Chip Kelly era is the gunslinger era I'm talking about.
Okay.
When we had all these offensive weapons and no defense, or there was no time to rest the defense. He was dogging the defense. Let me say that. He was dogging the defense with the quick in, quick out.
That's a different scenario.
Right. A team has to be built up solid on all special teams, defense, offense, all that.
I don't think that was the issue, though. I think the issue was with the secondary pieces, with the secondary specifically, and then, so like they had the O line. I mean, you had Jason Peters, Kelsey, Lane Johnson. Right. Boom, you're set. Like they were able to run up and down the field. But
what's our O line like now to you?
It's trash.
Okay.
On the left side.
So let me ask you this: the offensive line's trash. So let's go back to your initial question of do I think they're traded for quarterback? Let's say they get a talented quarterback right now, right? They get a talented quarterback with the line being trash. How long does this talented quarterback deal with being smacked around before he becomes A, gun shy, or too ready to leave the city because it's like, oh, well, they got me, but they paying me all this money and I need protection.
The caveat to that is we had injuries occur at a historic clip last year. That was an anomaly last year with all the linemen that went out. I mean, at one point we had 13 different lineups in like 14 weeks. That is unprecedented. You can there's no amount of planning you can do to prepare for that. So I don't foresee that happening.
And that will happen for the next couple years.
Nah.
This covert has put a twist into
it. It's not, and I'll tell you why. It was similar to the year where they had the lockout, where you weren't able to come into the team facilities and train. That was what 2008, 2009.
Right.
So you were training on your own. That's when Jason Peters got hurt. He had the first Achilles injury, and you had guys weren't coming to camp in shape, and then they were getting injured because they didn't have a chance to practice tackling in training camp. So now they know. So now they've had a year to adjust to that. But like you cannot plan for guys blowing out knees, and not just the Eagles. Every team.
Everybody. That's why I said that everybody.
It's because you didn't have the preseason or training camp, and there's a difference between being in lifting shape and football shape, and that's not right.
The whole range of motion different.
Any sport you do, there's a difference between you training on your own, even if you have an elite training academy. There's a difference between that and then being on the court and you banging, bodies and like people falling on the hardwood, or the pads are smacking together. Like you cannot train for a safety coming full speed. You know what I mean? So, I don't foresee Brandon Brooks, Lane Johnson, Jason Peters, everybody getting injured at the same time. Not just the Eagles, but other teams as well. So I think that the line is not going to be the issue this year. I think their issue is going to be what are their weapons on the outside. That's the issue for them.
Receiving or running?
Receiving, 100%.
Okay.
So for the draft, either they use that draft capital to trade for a quarterback, which I don't think they're going to do, or there are some options. At number 12, do they try to go for a receiver in the draft? I would. I just don't know. I don't trust Howie Roseman drafting wide receivers. I really don't.
Who's in the middle now? Who comes across the middle for the Eagles now? Because didn't the reason I say that
you talking about wide receiver or tight end?
Tight end.
Oh, I mean, you got Ertz, who's not going to be here probably. He's going to get traded, and then you have Dallas Goedert.
That's why I say that. Like, who's coming? Like, are there? Because the thing is this: you want somebody that is versatile. I like a big guy with hands. Yeah. Because, and this is why. The game of football is one thing, 10 yards at a time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if you throw it. I don't care if you run it. I don't care if you sneak it. But I would prefer a nice big guy that when he's on the line, you don't know what he's going to do because he's not a receiver. If someone's running, he's going to block. If someone's the running back, I would like a nice tight end.
And that's what concern me about them trading back because there's a really dynamic tight end. Really, he's just kind of like he's a wide receiver that is he's like the next like a
he's a big wide receiver.
Yeah, he's like a hybrid, in my opinion, between Darren Waller and Shannon Sharp. Like he's just a hybrid. And
I would like somebody like that.
I don't know if he's going to be sitting there at 12, man. I think he's going to go top 7, man.
But I mean in terms of a need period, whether it's in the draft or whatever. And here's why.
And I'm saying that
the shots downfield.
Because I was thinking about what you were saying. He fills 2 needs. I think you can move him to the outside. You can flex him outside.
Right.
And he's going to be a mismatch. Whoever's fast enough to keep up with him is not going to be able to out muscle him.
Right.
And then he's not a great blocker, but he's good enough. He has good effort. And he can move in next to Lane Johnson and be.
Sometimes just throwing the focus is enough. If you have a big guy with hands, and he's down, and just the fact that you don't know whether he was going to block it out because he does have hands, you know, it's just a phenomenal option. I think that putting the ball in the hands of the quarterback and expecting him to do magic, whether that's Hurts or whether that's Flacco or whether that's, you know, whoever, I think that's not a winning long-term recipe. That may win us a couple games, that may keep the local press up off your behind, but you know, we're discussing right now the direction of the franchise. Like, what's best for the future of the franchise? You just spent all this money for Flacco. He's probably not going to be able to bring you no chip, definitely, because you don't have any of the other pieces. So the question becomes, do you just have him there to save face right now? Or do you think the NFL is vulnerable right now? Because you know there haven't been no back-to-back champions for many, many years now.
No, I think it's a transitional period.
It's
the same way as the Chargers brought in Tyrod Taylor, even though they brought in Justin Herbert as the number 10 pick, right? The quarterback.
Yeah.
So they didn't necessarily expect Justin Herbert to start off the bat. He really only got a chance to start because Tyrod Taylor had the injury, and then they gave him the cortisone shot in his lung, and he punctured his lung. So that's really the only reason why he got a chance to get on the field. So I view, and Joe Flacco said it himself. He said, look, I'm not here to be a mentor. The best way I'm going to mentor Jalen is by competing with him. So he's not here to just be a backup. Whether he wins a starting job or not, I don't know. But that's not what he's here for.
Well, I'll share this, and again, you know, for our audience that don't get a chance to build with me, with you know, Jen the God and Tool Fillers are. I am all over the place, but check my unified theory.
Mm-hmm.
Just like with the Embiid and Howard situation, just like with when you have an entire host of pitchers in baseball, are we now at the point in professional football where it is necessary to have more than one primary quarterback? Are we coming to the era where you need
100%?
Where you need two quality, because understand, in baseball, you know, for us, for people who watch other sports, you look at baseball and like, oh, they got one great pitcher. Oh, they got 3 aces. In baseball, you want to stack up a couple aces. And football now, because we had the convenience when we won the championship that year of having 2 potential starters, and all 3 of them ended up serving us very well. With, of course, you saw what happened with the boy Nick winning it all for us. But what if Nick would have been just some old garbage backup? You know, are we in the era now where you need a Flacco and a Hurt, where you do need to?
And I'll tell you this as a Raiders fan as well. 2016, we were, I believe, 13-3. Derek Carr having an MVP caliber season, breaks his leg in the last game of the second.
Oh yeah. I remember that. Yeah.
We had.
Ain't that the year y'all had Beast in there with y'all too?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because he came home.
No. I think we got him the year after. But the point being, our backup was Matt McGloin, and as soon as Derek Carr went down, we knew it was over. It was over. All that work. We could have made the Super Bowl that year. I mean, we were dominant.
Right.
Outside of the Eagles and the Cowboys, the Raiders had the best offensive line of football.
They were expected to come out. Yeah,
Yeah.
they were expected.
And as soon as he got injured, that was it. Like the same way, like, if Tom Brady would have gotten injured, during any of
Right,
those Super Bowl years, the one over the Falcons, whatever, everybody in New England knows it's over. Their backup is not going
right,
to take them there.
right,
Like they
right,
have the system, yes, but like there's a precipitous drop off. So like the Saints last year, we saw it. Drew Brees goes down, Taysom Hill's there, and say what you want, Jameis Wilson is better than some of the starters on some of these other teams.
right,
Right? He's
right.
better than Tua. Tua
So,
down.
so,
Yeah.
so, would you say that yes, we are coming to a point where two primary
Oh,
quarterbacks may be a norm
we're not
soon?
coming to a point. We've been there the past 5 years. Now, I don't necessarily think that your backup quarterback has to be a starter, but he
Right,
has to be somebody who can
adequate.
come in for 3 or 4 games and you're not worried about him losing the game for you.
Right, right. If he could come in for 2 or 3 games, maybe 4 games, and at least he know what if something go wrong, it ain't him. He
Right.
not
And
gonna shoot it all the way down the field, but he gonna do exactly what he's supposed to do. Because, like I
right.
said, you only got to go 10 yards. Every
Especially
single
especially
quarterback.
is if it's the playoffs, especially if it's the playoffs, because you need 6 to 7 weeks of film on a person to really make those adjustments, right? But
Right.
if you only have 3 to 4 weeks to see the guy, he can have a run. Like you just have to
Yeah.
deal with him as you deal with him. They couldn't do that with Nick Foles. They had never seen the read option used to that capacity. So
Yeah.
like they
And
remember
if you look at any old film on him, it's totally irrelevant because
totally irrelevant.
yeah, because he's adapted to whatever the new system is.
Yeah.
So welcome to Philadelphia, Joe. I hope you come here and contribute. I don't know how much time we got left, but I wanted to ask you real quick on Suboxone.
Yes, yes. So let's briefly, and I was just reading an article from yesterday. Apparently Tyson Holyfield is off again. The negotiations
Again,
were
it's
not.
off. Oh, I
Yeah,
was looking forward to talking to you about that.
yeah.
What do you think
So
they doing?
so I was reading, it said Mike Tyson was saying that the deal was close to being made, and then um apparently his team, their asking price was too high. So like that's why, so that they were saying that's why Holyfield was so confused as why what Mike was saying the fight was on. It's like our sides aren't even close, dude. Like, so apparently the asking price is too high on the Tyson side of things. What are your thoughts on that?
Brothers, it'll be historical. It'll be more money than either one of y'all will be able to amount just by yourself. Brother Mike, I really, really appreciate watching you slug it out with Roy. But we want to see you slug it out with one more equal size. Roy just was
Yeah,
outmatched. Even Roy in his prime is just Mike is just too much of overmatched. And it wasn't as if Roy wasn't fighting great. So we want to see this Holyfield Tyson thing. Brothers, get it together. It's not about the money. Y'all both know it. So yeah.
yeah.
So all
I
right.
hope they
Well,
I
we
hope
ain't
they get
talking
that
about that.
together. And then lastly on boxing, there's a big fight going down today. So obviously Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua signed the deal, 2-fight deal to fight for all the marbles, all the belts, right? So
Tonight.
so
That's
not to,
tonight.
no, it's not tonight. So that's in the near future, but just trust me, I would have heard about it. I would
Oh,
have
I'm
heard.
about to say,
Oh,
whoa.
it ain't tonight. But the winner and loser of that fight, one of the fights that's a mandatory is the winner of the Alexander Povetkin and Dillian White fight. Now,
Okay.
Povetkin, 41, is trying to get his last shot, more or less at fighting the big dogs at heavyweight. And Dillian White, and this was last year. Dillian White, from UK, British kid. He was,
Dangerous.
yeah, he knocked him down 2 times. In the fourth round, he had knocked him down for the second time, and I thought that Povetkin wasn't going to be able to make it through the fifth round. Not only does he come out at the opening bell with the fifth round, he slips left. I forgot what punch Dillian White threw, and he came up with an uppercut like Ken on Street Fighter, and it was just like a finishing move. It was knockout of the year. I mean, he just came up with a shoryuken, and it was just over, man.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
I'm glad that we're back at that era where every see that was always the beauty of that weight class. You didn't know every punch could be that punch. Like, don't blink.
Mm-hmm.
You know, um, I'm glad to see it, and I want
So
to.
they're fighting today. The rematch is today. So it's actually I think the card started about an hour ago. So maybe they might be going on in the next hour. So I'm curious to see the results of that one because one of those
I want
guys
to
will be
see an
fighting.
active fight. I
Yeah.
want to see an active fight. I don't want to see two people that are trying to just secure their purse.
No,
I
they're
think that
not.
happens a lot.
And the first fight wasn't like that. Like Dillian White, he come out to bang. He almost got Povetkin out of there. And then Povetkin, he's coming out to throw the jab and try to knock you out. They're not playing patty cake, and trying to get their money. No, they're in there to take souls.
I hope to see exactly what you say. The
Yeah.
reason I say that is because you often will have the first fight where they are going all out, and then you'll see a second and third fight where
No,
what
no, because Povetkin, um, that was his last shot to get a shot at the title, and then this rematch is a chance to him to get his shot at the see um Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury. I forgot which one of them, but win or lose or draw, one of those two have to fight the winner of this fight. So
right
Povetkin and White have a chance to get a shot at the
at the
big dog immediately.
right
So like they are going
right
to be dogging this fight out.
out.
Like it ain't no
So who you
game.
who you got for it?
I think Dillian White is going to turn it around this time. Because he was controlling the fight. Like, make no mistake about it. He was
Right
controlling that fight. But
right.
Povetkin, he is a boxer through and through. He didn't get flustered, even though he probably didn't know where the fuck he was
He
at.
made the smart move.
Oh yeah. And
He made
it's
the
just
smart move.
like he looked like he was on the verge of getting knocked out, and he didn't have steady legs, but he just had the muscle memory to know, yo, this cross is coming. I'm gonna slip this, and I'm gonna make him pay.
Muscle memory is a beautiful thing, boy. Muscle
He
memory is
not
a
as he
beautiful
not nearly
thing.
as fast as he was because mind you, Povetkin is a top tier guy. Like he's older
Right
now, so he doesn't have the
right
speed. But his only losses were to Klitschko and Anthony
right.
Joshua. That's his only two losses. Like everybody else, he's beat. So like Dillian White, he has to come with it. Like he cannot.
I mean, we're in the era
Yeah.
of depleted greatness in that weight class.
No, we're not. Not
Um,
now. Like
I was just getting ready to say, I hope that this new generation proves me wrong, but what I've seen is people that have not been able to consistently show you the same behavior, match after match after match. Um,
mhm.
Even with Tyson Fury, I haven't really been totally impressed with him like everyone else has been. Um, I'm amazed he remains at the top right now with some of his habits and whatnot. Um, Great fighter, but I just thought that someone would have creeped some of the because he. You ever play someone on a video game and they keep doing the same moves, but you can't stop it?
That's the greatness. That's the great.
Is that
That's
what
the greatness.
it
Yeah.
is?
It's the great. Hey, hey,
If you couldn't
Ali.
stop it, then
I mean, Ali
yeah,
was similar. I call Tyson Fury Muhammad Ali light, right?
yeah, yeah.
Muhammad Ali, you knew that 1-2 was coming, but it ain't shit you could do about it, man. I mean, he had other punches. Don't get me wrong, but like that 1-2, you knew that's coming. But
Yeah,
like,
boop boop.
it just lands. Like Klitschko too.
Right, right.
He's straight up and down, no special effects. That 1-2 coming down the pipe, but you still gonna get hit by it, man. Like, you better be training for just that shit, and you still gonna get hit by it. So like Tyson Fury, um, I just love the way he changed his life around because you talk about a guy who had
And
horrible
that's what people like
habits,
about him. Yeah, he
you know,
changed his life around.
drinking, drugs, like so he came. That's why he was able to compete with and beat Deontay Wilder because he wasn't the out of shape fighter he was before.
You know what? Yeah, we're gonna have to do us a whole like box real quick. Who do you have for tonight and why?
For White and Povetkin,
Yeah,
or yeah, I have Dillian White just because I think that he fell asleep for 1 second and it cost him. But
and it
short of
cost
that,
him.
he was
And
winning
you don't
fights.
think he's gonna have the lapse this time?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I hope that he does exactly just that.
Yeah,
Um, to check it out so that we can see who fights on the next level. You
yeah,
know,
exactly.
and I think that's a good motivator. The fact that who beats this match gets a chance at one of the top contenders immediately. I think that stuff like that has to be in place more often. What's
Yeah.
happening is I don't think you get a lot of the real big major fight cards anymore because there's really no reason for them to sacrifice their body or put it on the line if there's no future benefits beyond just that the one match here and there.
Well, to your point, the UFC is putting pressure on them to do that because the UFC does it. I mean, not granted, they pay their
Yeah,
players like dirt. I mean, their fighters
yeah,
like dirt. However, the
yeah, they
business
do.
model, the point remains the same. They put on the best
Shout out
fights,
nephew Michelle Burrell.
the best fight the best, and they're pressuring boxing into doing the same thing, which is why we're getting better fights now. So,
Okay.
yeah, and I'm going to get ready to go head out and watch this fight as well as the
Appreciate
Nova
it. I'm
game.
going. I'm going. Well, I'm going to be checking out some of this basketball.
Yeah,
So
yo, 5:15
so
Nova,
so
man, Nova Baylor, boy. You know what's
so
about to
so we
happen.
gonna link back up and see what's going down, and I look forward to building with you all a great many more times. Yo, to the whole universe, checking us out. Press the
Hmm.
like button. Press the
Yes, sir.
subscribe button. Check my man out on all platforms. On all platforms. Why? Because I may say something on one platform they didn't let me say on the other platform. You dig?
Facts.
So
Facts.
yo, subscribe, like, check us out. Check out my man music too. He on some humble stuff. He be lighting it up. One from Philadelphia, Jersey, America, the third planet from the sun. We out of here.
Absolutely.
You dig?
Peace.
One.